Welcome back, everyone. We're Simply Bitcoin. We break down the news from Twitter, the daily fail, meme review, software releases, hardware releases, and the websites by plebs. Joining us today, fellow Bitcoiner and author, best known for Bitcoin Independence, Reimagined, and Sovereignty through Mathematics. I'm talking about Knut Svanholm. All right, we're diving into the numbers. Let's do it, people.
Number time! Number time is brought to you by Bitcoin 2022. It's going to be the largest Bitcoin conference ever. It was just announced. I don't know if you guys saw it, but Phil and I are going to speak. We're going to have a panel. It's going to be a surprise. Get your tickets quickly. You can take advantage of the link down below in the link description for 10% off your tickets to Bitcoin 2022.
At the time of this recording, the block height is 719,334. The Bitcoin price 41,820. Chain rewrite days 713. Total public lightning capacity, again frozen in time, 3,331.49. Moscow time 2391, and blocks to the halvening 120,666. That's right. The numbers.
The numbers. The
That's
numbers.
right. Knut got it.
Oh, Knut. I was looking at Knut the entire time. Okay. So, listen, frozen in time, you guys, this is... we try to provide something different every single day to spice up the numbers. I'm sure you guys have noticed, right? Because there's nothing interesting to talk about it since they've been... We literally couldn't have said anything. We could have just taken a screenshot from 5 months ago, been reading the same numbers, and you guys probably would have noticed. But anyways, I did have something interesting today before I asked Knut a couple questions about how he's feeling about this moment in time in Bitcoin's history. Check this out. This was sent to us by Mr. Robot. This was Ambrose Space. Shout out Jessifer. And check this out. Phil, I think we got it wrong. Apparently, the Lightning Network capacity went up by 5%. The channels went up by 2,898, up by 3%, and the amount of nodes grew by 335 nodes, 2% in the past week. So some awesome, really cool Lightning data, and I thought you guys would find it interesting. Now I'm going to pass the question back to Knut, because I think this is what everyone is feeling right now. The energy, right, that we're feeling in Bitcoin. Knut, were your expectations broken for 2021, or are you at a point in your Bitcoin experience that you've just been through so many freaking roller coasters that you just don't care anymore? Or did you have an expectation?
What about the price?
Yes.
No, I don't think about price much. Well, I have enough to get around. Unfortunately, lost them all in a tragic boating accident, as you know.
You too? Okay.
Yeah. So I was such a lousy captain that I had to quit my day job and become a full-time Bitcoiner, you know?
Yeah.
Because of this accident.
Do you also live under a bridge? Because us too, we live under a bridge. Houses cost money. Cost Bitcoin.
Yeah, I wish I could be like more of a nomad and, you know, roam the earth with a toothbrush and a guitar maybe. But I have a family to support, so I can't really do that. So, well, we try to live an interesting life anyway, and I think we do. So there we are.
That's awesome. So question for you. So since you don't really care about the price, which is, by the way, just to give you some reference, 99% of Bitcoiners, when they come on the show, they say the exact same thing. But I'm always hoping that, you know, they're going to say, oh, yeah, I was let down or something, because that would make the conversation a little bit spicy. But,
well,
yeah.
Yeah, I don't think the price is unimportant by any means. I mean, it is the purchasing power of the coin is the most important aspect of it, as it is for any type of money or asset. I mean, of course, we want it to go up at some point, but, you know, if it goes down, we can acquire more easily, and if it goes up, we're happy. So either way, we're happy. That's the beauty of it.
Last year was a very big year in Bitcoin's history, right? We had we were anticipating this, right? That it was inevitable. If you look at Bitcoin, it's the best money that was ever created. That a nation state was going to adopt it, but it finally happened. Did that surprise you? I'm assuming you've been in Bitcoin for quite a bit, right? So how did that feel? You know, especially myself, I've been in Bitcoin since 2016. You know, so seeing the development of Bitcoin, right? Back then, the infrastructure, the software, none of that existed. You know, it was being developed, but it wasn't quite there yet. Seeing all this happen was just so fascinating. I want to get your thoughts on 2021, not so much in terms of the caca fiat price that we don't like to talk about, but more so from the events that happened.
Yeah, well, first, of course, you have the two big things, I guess, is MicroStrategy, the first big company, and Michael Saylor being so well-spoken and everything, and such a great contributor to the community. And then after that, of course, the El Salvador thing, both huge news. So for Bitcoin as a whole, a great year. 2021 couldn't have been better. But and of course, I have to add the first Bitcoin Infinity Day to that, which is on the 21st of August. Did you see that?
No, please let us know what that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, you write dates in a funny way in America because you put the month first and the date after, right?
Yes.
So that's 8/21. Which very easily translates into infinity divided by 21.
Oh!
So we introduced Bitcoin Infinity Day in the middle of August. Just got the idea while at the conference in Mexico. And I announced it on Tonebase Pod. And it became a thing. And there were some websites put up. And shortly after that, that amazing artist, Fractal Encrypt, made these Bitcoin Infinity keys in honor of the first annual Bitcoin Infinity Day.
So
that is
story
behind
those
the
keys.
story, man. So I'm gonna pull up.
And we go way back. My story with Fractal is he's just this guy sent from heaven, and that's coming from an atheist. You know, when I first saw the first full node sculpture, there's a little video of it from some gallery in Miami, and I saw the word sovereignty through mathematics engraved in the sculpture. So I DM'd him, and I tweeted at him, and I asked him if he knew. Oh, you have my book title on your full node statue there. Funny thing, we thought of the same words. So he tweeted back at me and said that, like, I was listening to your book while I made the statue. I love it. Like,
wow.
And so then the statue ended up as being the cover for my second book, Independence Reimagined. So it's on the cover there.
That is an incredible backstory that we had no idea that was the source of inspiration. And I'm going to pull up all these images for everybody, the audience, so that they could essentially see what it is we're talking about, we're referencing.
The private keys and public keys, the infinity keys that he made, he auctioned them out via scarce.city, which is an awesome Bitcoin art webpage where you can buy anything but NFTs, real art for the future, which is Bitcoin art. And the private keys, there are only 21 of those, and I have the first one. So I have 1 out of 21. And he gave them away, 20 of them, to Bitcoiners that could tell him something he didn't know about Bitcoin, something new that he didn't know before. Wow. So that whole thread was so interesting to follow.
What was that? What did you tell Fractal Encrypt that he didn't know before?
I didn't tell him anything. I came up with the phrase everything divided by 21 million, which is the equation that is on the infinity key.
And that was it.
So,
That was the thing. Ah, okay.
Yeah. So the entire thing is in honor of me. Anyway, no, I'd stumbled on the phrase and it became a thing, and I'm just very happy that this whole thing is happening to me and to everyone else involved in it. Anyway, there are 21 keys. He auctioned one of them out, the eighth one, which is the 821 one, like the one referencing the actual date, and that went for 1.05 Bitcoin, which was around $67,000 at the time, I think.
That is absolutely
insane. I was watching that thing and I was like, I can't believe this is happening. And then he sold a bunch of, I believe it was 210 public keys. And he didn't auction them out, but they went up in price as the blocks were found. So for every new block, it went up in price by X amount of dollars. I don't remember the exact amount, but he sold all of those as well. So and if you have a pair, you're a really lucky one.
Yep, you have the private and the public key. That is absolutely fascinating. We had Fractal Encrypt on the show. We made him show off, a lot of his art, the piece that he did for Sailor, the full node. But we had no idea that you were part in at least some of the influence or some of the artist juice, the artistic process, better said. And that's really cool.
I mean, no one. This whole space is about dropping your ego, right? So it's not about me and it's not about Fractal. It's about the greater thing, and it's like I heard someone say about songwriting that it's like the fish is the beautiful thing, not the fisherman. So it's like catching fish. When you find a beautiful fish, the fish is beautiful. The fisherman is still just a guy. So when you stumble upon a meme or something that lives on, that's the important thing. And I think this everything divided by 21 million meme is worth. We should keep it in circulation and keep celebrating Bitcoin Infinity Day, obviously.
So August 21st, that is Bitcoin Infinity Day. Super awesome story in the back. I know a lot of you guys that follow Fractal Encrypt will enjoy some of that backstory of where he got that influence. But anyways, Phil, it's time for
the Daily Fail. The Daily Fail is brought to you by Amber App. Check them out, amber.app. I've been explaining Buy the Shift all wrong. It's unlimited, no-fee buys and sells, auto withdrawals, smart automations, and Bitcoin only. It is a Bitcoin stacking app by actual Bitcoiners.
Amber, the smart way to stack sats.
As I was just saying to Knut, it's an interesting topic, right? But it's not an interesting project. What am I talking about? This was tagged by Darthcoin in our Telegram group, and I figured, all right, let's dive into this. Transhuman coin. That's right. This needs to be money. Or not. I'm going to say or not. I think all of us are going to say or not, but let's dive in. Research and charity token dedicated to the transhumanism movement, investing in the future of humanity through science and technology. All right, so there you go, right? It's making you feel good.
So if you buy it, do you live super long? Do you become super intelligent? And do you feel super well?
You know what? That's what I've heard. But it's not necessarily about those things, Nico. Sometimes it's about the tokenomics, right? Sometimes it's about the tokenomics. Anyways, before we dive further into this, let's just give some background, right, on what is meant by transhumanism. A belief that humans should strive to transcend the physical limitations of the mind and body by technological means. a movement of people who espouse such a belief, a philosophy favoring the use of science and technology, especially neurotechnology, biotechnology, and nanotechnology to overcome human limitations and improve the human condition. Okay, so this is how transhumanists are described. Interestingly enough, throughout history, there have been transhumanists. They maybe were not called transhumanists, but I ended up finding this other little article, and I just wanted to outline this, right, before we dive further into this shitcoin. The origins of transhumanism can be found as far back as the 1900s or even earlier, to the quest for immortality in the Epic of Gilgamesh and the search for the Fountain of Youth. Okay, this was one of the things that the fabled Alexander the Great was searching for, among others, throughout history. Searching for this. So you could even say necessarily that alchemists throughout time, magicians, are forms of transhumanists. So I don't think it's entirely technology, but anyways, that's my own opinion. Let's continue down this rabbit hole of shitcoin that doesn't need to be money.
Yeah, I'm looking at all this. I'm like, where does the coin fit in? Give it to the shitcoiners to use everything and anything to come up with some money. Trump coin, orb coin, world coin. What was it, the one that we covered the other day that was freaking stupid? It was so stupid, Phil. It was so stupid.
I forget all of them.
There was kid token.
I don't even remember them anymore.
I don't know.
I kid you not. I don't know. Bite Mart. Who knows?
Anyway.
Some shitcoin doing something that doesn't need to exist. Okay, went to their website, transhumancoin.finance. Here we go. Transhuman Coin is a research-oriented token seeking to merge artificial intelligence with biotechnology in the metaverse. So wait, we're extrapolating this out even further, okay? Not only are you not living the better life that Nico's talking about, but you're not living it virtually in the metaverse as well. Okay, so anyways, with the aim of solving diseases and aging, transhumanism is the ideology of enhancing human life through science and technology. The transhuman coin is the first and only token dedicated to transhumanism. We will show you that is false. There was another shitcoiner before this. Anyways, 2% of every transaction to the liquidity pool. Another 2% is redistributed to the holders, including the Transhuman Fund wallet, and 2% is sent to the marketing wallet. Of course, all of this making your life better. Anyways, let's continue. When you invest in Transhuman Coin, you make it possible for us to donate to research and projects which are fighting diseases, disabilities, and death through science and technology while you're rewarded. Because you can't possibly donate to organizations that do this now. You need this token to do this. It provides transparency, Nico.
I love how they have a ticker for a bunch of other shit coins.
But look at the ticker, though. Look at the ticker, THC. I mean, you kind of, and don't get me wrong, I like me some THC, but at the same time, I think you kind of have to be high to buy into this use case. I digress. Let's continue.
Yeah.
There have been a lot of RFI type projects lately, but none of them had an actual utility that would make the project useful long term. THC is the coin that invests in future human technologies. This is my favorite part. We are futuristic.
Yeah.
I know that this is making Knut very happy. He's thinking, you know what? Why am I holding Bitcoin?
Two thoughts. The first, I'm wearing glasses, and so are you, Phil. So we're already transhuman, right? This is making our eyesight slightly better. We're wearing headphones, so we're in the metaverse. I'm looking at a screen, hearing you guys so we're already doing this. That's the first thought. And the second thought is about this 2% going. So there's like a 6% tax on every transaction. That's basically it, right? 2% here, 2% there.
Yeah, of course.
And because I had a debate with a guy once about NFTs, and he said that the innovation is that every time the painting gets sold, the artist gets 2%. And I'm like, that's not a benefit. That's like diluting the value of the thing, because if I buy something, I want to buy 100% of it. I wouldn't want to own 98% of my glasses, for instance, and have someone influence when I can use them or not. If I own something, I want to own it to 100%. And the only thing I can own to 100% is Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is information, and it's the only thing that blurs out the line between knowing and owning. Now that's another debate, but everything else is confiscatable. But this voluntarily giving up 6% in every transaction just because some douche wants to send money to a charity organization, promoting transhumanism. What is do people still fall for these things?
It sounds like you're not futuristic, Knut. It sounds like
no. I'm an old fart. Remember, I'm not futuristic at all.
We're all not futuristic, bro.
No,
not futuristic enough.
Unless we own some THC coin, we are not futuristic.
No, exactly.
No, but Phil, out of yeah. I think that's in the top 5 of the shitcoins that we've reviewed.
That's
in the top
I agree.
5. Do you remember the orb coin?
The world coin, isn't it? World coin?
Yeah, but with the orb that scanned your eyeballs to give you some money. Knut, I know you know what I'm talking about, right? I'm gonna pop up an image.
Yeah, that was so. But it was. That's the thing, though. These things, the more outrageous and ridiculous they are, the more attention they get. Mm-hmm. I don't think this transhuman coin is going to get a lot of attention. I mean, it's too boring to be honest. Like a really Orwellian, I'm going to scan your eyeball coin is bound to get a lot more attention and thus more funding than a project like this, because I agree. Yeah.
I agree. And it's so, Phil, if you had to pick and choose, what is a worse shitcoin? The orb coin or the transhuman coin?
Oh my gosh. We're dumpster diving at this point. I mean, you're asking me to choose between dumpster juice and like
what do you mean by worse?
Garbage in the juice.
Oh, okay, Knut. You're gonna blow our minds. What do you mean? What do you mean by worse?
Yeah, exactly. What do you mean by worse? Because a shitcoin that let's say this Orwellian coin, whatever it was called, the eyeball coin, the orb coin, that got a lot more attention than this will ever get, and thus it attracted a lot more money. But that's not a good thing. So is that coin worse or better than this one? What's the definition of worse?
I mean, have to define what is worse.
We need a proper scale.
My favorite shitcoin is Sucksbucks, Giacomo Zucco's own coin.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Of course, he has the best tokenomics.
Yeah.
Why is it your favorite? Why is it your favorite?
Because he's so eloquent at pointing out the exact problem with these things, and that something centralized will always have a guy deciding everything somewhere.
But anyways, Phil, it's time for the Daily Meme Review. The Daily Meme Review is brought to you by Citadel 21. It's the best Bitcoin cultural zine. It's raw pleb signals, stories, comics, articles by toxic Bitcoiners. And they're scarce. There's only 1,000 copies made per volume. Get your print of Citadel 21 today.
I know personally, I would never, even if I really do lose all my Bitcoin, I will never touch any shitcoin with a 10-foot pole. And some fucking dignity.
Right? Like, there's got to be, like, you're right. If you don't have integrity, you've got nothing.
There's just
exactly.
The temptation is just, it's unreal, because once you start getting, your following goes up, right, on Twitter, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that some people, it gets to their head. And then, right, you start getting the offers, right? Like the shit coins are like, hey,
tell me about it.
I'll offer you this amount of money if you put your brand, your company behind it, and then it's just like, I'd rather keep my soul, you know? So I think that every single cycle, you see a lot of people just sell out, you know? They're just like, that's a lot of money, I'm going to take it, and that's that, you know? It's unfortunate.
Well, not really. It's rooting out the weeds and separating signal from noise.
That's right.
In a very efficient way.
And the community is very, very savage at calling it out. And look, we even have a whole segment dedicated to calling out the scammers. Anyways, let's get to the meme review. First meme is brought to us by the legendary Greg Zag1. Part of the memers that came up with the laser ray till 100K. Anyways, check it out. FUD writers, I feel bad for you. Bitcoiners, I don't think about you at all. Moving on to this one. This is by all4freedom_B, the trader, and the DCAer. Look, he's so sad. It's true. Just long time preference, low time preference, just dollar cost average. And this is by Empty the Banks. If the truth shall kill them, let them die. And I just want to redirect this to fiat, right? Let the truth kill fiat. Fiat's going to die on its own, right? Because it's fake money. It's money based on lies. Anyways, moving on to this one by BTC Niche. He's so cute. Would he be thinking about me? In what ways can we undermine central banking? How do we rid ourselves of the political class? Taxation is theft. Oh, man. Highly accurate meme. Okay, moving on to the last one. Government bans Bitcoin. Absolutely amazing memes by the fellow plebs. Phil, I don't have a score up, bro. You're going to have to go first while I find a score.
I will start. Okay. Those were great memes. I enjoyed them very much. And for that, I'm giving it... It's the tamper wire with the mechanism for the cipher wheel and the cipher grid. Take a look at that thing. Yeah, and by the way, once you use it once, you can't undo it. So if you loop the wire through and start to twist the knob, it's done. I screwed that up.
Why do I feel
had to save me?
Why do I feel like you had to learn that the hard way? That's the whole point of tamper resistant, man.
You know. When you don't have a brain, there's no pain until you realize you made a mistake, and then you'll have to... Anyways, you have to send me more stuff.
I'm going to give it a portable battery generator thing. Yeah, so if you need to charge your... Yeah, it's freaking huge. If you need to charge your iPhone and you're in the middle of the ocean on a raft...
Serene Life, is that from the shitcoin manufacturer? Like, is that financed through a shitcoin too?
Don't give them ideas.
Serene Life token.
They're gonna come out. It's plug power coin. Plug power coin. You won't be able to charge your phone without this coin. Anyways, Knut, what would you give those memes?
Well, I didn't care very much for the first three, but the last one I really liked. I give it 5 coasters.
Oh, 5 coasters. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4. 5. Anyways, guys,
mainly because I had coasters laying around.
I mean, that's how you rate these memes. That's kind of how it works. And that's an accurate score. See, he played by the rules, Phil. He
did play by the rules. And I just want to add, we've never had 1 coaster as a score, and we've already bumped it up. Knut has bumped it up to 5.
So if someone gives 3 coasters, it's not going to cut it.
It's not going to cut it.
Anyways, guys, we want to know, do you agree with our scores? Do you disagree? Let us know down in the comment section. And of course, join us or subscribe to us on alternative video platforms, because we say things about people in high places, like the World Economic Forum and central bankers, like rumble.com, and our personal favorite, bitcointv.com. It's our personal favorite because they don't censor there. It's Bitcoin TV. And join our Telegram group. Link us some Bitcoin memes to review, because a Bitcoin meme review, and we would need memes to review on the Bitcoin meme review. But anyways, it's time for the Daily News. The Daily News is brought to you by CryptoCloaks.com. They make the best 3D printed Bitcoin merch, like the 3D printed Bitcoin Freedom Art Grenade. Look, it opens up. You can put your favorite hardware wallet in there. Or the 3D printed Bitcoin Honey Badger also opens up. You can put things or hardware wallets in there, up to you. It comes in 3 different sizes. You can take advantage of the link down below for 5% off anything on the store, CryptoCloaks.com. All right, guys. We have Knut to talk about this very, very... for me, is a very, very passionate subject for myself, for me personally. This is the end goal of Bitcoin, right? Is to separate money. Before I use any of Knut's language, I'm going to use my own, right? To separate money from the hands of politicians, right? If the creation of money is in a group of an elite class, obviously they're going to use it to enrich themselves and, you know, maintain that power, right? Bitcoin fixes that. But Knut puts that much better than I do, because I don't write things. And this is why I make videos, because I don't know how to write. Anyways, here we go. Church and state. Throughout recorded history, religion and power have been inextricably linked. Dunbar's number represents how many people with whom one could maintain relationships. Without collective beliefs, human tribes could not have exceeded this number. Thus, civilizations needed a belief system at its core. Belief systems provide human leaders with motivational tools. The introduction of ceremonial burial was one such tool. With ceremonial burial came the promise of an afterlife. This tool enabled tribal leaders to start wars with other tribes. Right? Because it's like, go kill the other guy, you'll go to heaven. Despots could now trick their subjects with the promise of a better life after this one. This gave them immense power, since they can now rally armies to further their causes. It enabled them to form nation states. I don't like those. Controlled territories with loyal citizens living in fear of the armed forces. Let's take a look at Australia. Because of the people's beliefs, the divine right of the ruler became a part of their operating system. For centuries, this was the basis of governments for almost all nations. The ruler's supposed closer connection to the gods legitimized them in the eyes of the people. Enter the ideas of English philosopher John Locke. Locke argued that the realm of individual conscience was a personal thing. Thus, the liberty of conscience had to remain protected from any government authority. Locke's ideas had a huge influence on America's founding fathers. Thank God. Religious tolerance became the norm in the New World. Thomas Jefferson wrote that the government should make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. These ideas made their way into the First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. The one about protecting freedom of thought and expression. Similar developments were happening throughout Europe. Today, almost all Western democracies call themselves secular states. Now, moving on. The institutions of the church and the state were no longer dependent on each other. True, but religious traditions were still dictating how these states operated. But most important of all, the belief in the state itself remained. For what maintains the state if not religious belief? And just to point this out, you guys see this in communist countries, right? They're atheistic, right? They don't believe in a god, but that belief is replaced with believing in, the supreme leader of that said country, right? What gives one man the right to govern another? Aren't these notions mere remnants of an antiquated belief system? The most powerful tool of lulling people into a specific set of belief that exists today is money. With the introduction of fiat currencies came a new way of controlling populations, new methods to keep them enslaved. The central bank proved to be a much more powerful entity than the church could ever be. The thought of a better life here and now could make people do atrocious things to themselves and enslave them in perpetuous work as they all strive to become rich, an impossible goal for most people. As long as there are money printers, there could be no freedom of expression. I completely agree with that. Money is the tool we use to express value to each other. Whoever controls the money supply controls the world. How many times have we told you that on this show, guys? The words, Knut just knows how to write. We just talk. Anyways, the words "In God We Trust" printed on every dollar bill in existence gives a clue to how fooled we've been. We're not secular. We still belong to a cult. The emperors are still naked. There's still no such thing as divine right. If we want to become secular, we have to separate money and state. There's no ground here. People in charge of issuing currency can't resist, which is what I said earlier, can't resist enriching themselves. The incentives are too strong. There's no way around this. Never trust a piece of paper that says, "In God we trust." There's probably no God and definitely no we. But since 2009, we have had Bitcoin, a beacon of hope in an otherwise dark world, a peaceful way of disarming the sociopaths, a way of making violence a lot less effective. And if you want your mind to be free, rid yourself of all appeals to authority, take control of your destiny, emancipate yourself. Don't let anyone dictate the course of your life. And you could only do that if you are living on a Bitcoin standard. And the reason for that is because it's rules without rulers, right? So Knut, awesome article. I agree with so many points in it, specifically about how humanity will never be free until we separate money from state. And that's just a fact. As long as there's a group of people that have the power of the money printer to pay for whatever fucking ideas, whether that's a social program, whether that's going and invading other countries because supposedly they have weapons of mass destruction, or whatever crazy mumbo jumbo they come into their head, I don't think any human being should have that much unchecked power. As we've known throughout history, absolute power corrupts absolutely. And I think Satoshi solved that problem. Anyways, what are your thoughts on all this?
First of all, I'd like to promote the. I think there's if we include this one, there's now 4 video iterations of this article. There's the one that's in the Bitcoin Magazine article there, and then there's another one by Power Laws Bitcoin Documentaries, a very nice one. And of course, the one by Yoni Appelberg, whom I make videos with. You might have seen them. We've made six different videos together, including this one and everything divided by 21 million. Anyway, the last paragraph there of the article is what I'm trying to communicate most here, and because I've changed my views on religion and the state during discovering Bitcoin, and I used to view like that there. I understand why religious people, mainly Christians, are so against. They think that humans will inevitably replace a belief in God with a belief in a totalitarian state, because history shows this, and it's true to some extent. However, I choose to be more hopeful, though. I think they're right in thinking that democracy is just another religion. It's the belief that a popularity contest every 4 years can somehow make theft and coercion more moral, which is simply wrong, arguing from basic principles. So I believe that this, if you want to be in charge of your own life, you need to rid yourself of all appeals to authority, whether it's a supernatural higher power or a higher cause or anything like that. You need to remember why you came into Bitcoin in the first place, because you were a rigorous thinker and a critical thinker. And so this is why I find it scary when they compare Bitcoin to a new religious movement. I can see how it helps people evolve spiritually and helps their inner journeys and helps them become better people. But that doesn't make it a religious thing. I view it as financial atheism. The only way we can express value to each other without having to trust someone's supposed divine rights. Like, we don't have to trust the money printers. We don't have to trust the dollar bills, and that they have value just because they say they do, because we can verify everything. To me, that's a very scientific approach. And I'm hopeful for humanity, even though humanity shows a lot of signs of being very easily duped into mass psychosis thing all the time. But I think we can, at some point, rid ourselves of all notions of a higher power, and only then will we be truly set free, and only then can we set our own goals and discover the meaning of our own personal lives, not what anyone else says is the meaning of your life, but we can reclaim the driver's seat.
So
To me, that is what this is about.
So you're saying with secular money, right?
Yeah.
That's really what Bitcoin is. You believe that it will inevitably lead to the disbelief in God because people
No, not at all. I mean, Bitcoin can help people find their worldview and their personal beliefs and their personal whatever, and it might lead some people into to religious beliefs, some people into more secular beliefs, and some people into atheistic beliefs. I mean, the it's not about that, but it's about to me, when people ask me what Bitcoin is, what I view Bitcoin as these days, the answer I give my current answer to that question is that it's a set of rules. It's an agreement. We've all agreed on a fixed set of rules on how to interact with each other non-violently. So it's just an agreement between people. And those who see this agreement can reap the benefits from using it, and those who don't can't. It's as simple as that.
So let me rephrase it, right? It wouldn't be so much that essentially Bitcoin would cause people to stop believing in God, but it would essentially empower people to believe in whatever they want without fear of persecution from another party that perhaps has different beliefs than they do.
Well, first and foremost, it would take away the profit motive from violence. Violence is not as effective on a Bitcoin standard, because when you cannot know how much someone owns, and they can store it in their heads, and you cannot know how much they own or how to, and you cannot access it if you kill them, then the profitability of violence decreases significantly. And this is happening on every level of society, from petty crime to governments. All criminals will have a harder time stealing and coercing people in the future. And that was the danger of organized religions, and that is the danger of central banks. I mean, organized religions could fool you into being violent to your fellow man by claiming that a reward awaited you in the afterlife. Central banks do the same thing, but they fool you that the reward is right here and now, and if you just take out another loan, you will be happy. And if you just overconsume, that you can find heaven here on earth. So to me, that's these belief systems are very convenient for sociopaths. That people believe in a higher authority, and that people believe in something bigger than themselves, can very easily be used against them. And Bitcoin is a defense mechanism against that kind of violence. It makes the pen literally more powerful than the sword, because you can memorize this.
It empowers the individual, the likes of which we've never seen in human history, to the mob, to the collectivist, right? So the individual has never had so much individual sovereignty and power and freedom, in essence, right? Is what you're saying. So, Knut, I have one more question, then I want to pass it on to Phil. And
I just want to add on to the last thing there, because if we empower the individual, the most truthful idea will survive the longest, because the more truthful an idea is, the more adaptable it is, and the more the higher its survivability. If your statement reflects reality, you have a better shot at surviving reality. So and you cannot. that can only stem from empowering the individual. A collective can never find the truth in a way that the individual can. Every scientific discovery happened in someone's brain. That's where they are, in a single person's brain. Someone had the idea. That's always an individual thing. So when you empower the individual, you empower each and every one of us to the extent that we can start discovering new things about reality again.
Absolutely. I'm completely on board. I think that this is going to lead humanity into a sort of renaissance, a period that we see on paper, right? We see it theoretically, but we have no idea what the implications of this are, because we've never had this ever, right? So you can't look at history like you usually might. Knut, you want to respond to that?
It's so much bigger than any one of us can imagine.
I agree.
It's way, way bigger than the internet. The internet did this to words and sounds and pictures. This is the internet of action, of humans acting, their actual interactions with the world, not just what they say, what they do. It changes everything.
It does. I tweeted it today. I said something like this. I said, the internet exposed them. Bitcoin gave us the tools to beat them, right? And I think that's where we are. But Knut, the thing that worries me, and then I want to pass it on to Phil, because I know he has something to say, is the transition period, right? If you've read the book, The Sovereign Individual, and if you haven't read the book, The Sovereign Individual, just look at history, right? Whenever we have these paradigm shifts, right, it creates chaos in society, and I really believe that a lot of the chaos that we're experiencing today is the death of, these nation states had a monopoly on information, right? Through capturing traditional media institutions, traditional articles. The New York Times was, the publication that essentially released the article on weapons of mass destruction, all of that stuff. Then the internet killed that. Right now you have the rise of independent content creators like Joe Rogan that are getting more viewers, more attention than legacy channels, and it allows him, because he's independent, he is his own boss, it allows him to tell the truth like these institutions cannot, because they're captured, right? And then you add into the mix, right, also the monopoly on the creation of money by the state is constantly, every day, block by block, slowly being eroded by Bitcoin. And I think that those two things, right, are happening. The internet started it, right, and then Bitcoin just pulled fuel on the fire, and this is the chaos that we're currently experiencing. What are your thoughts on how long this transition is going to be? How chaotic is it going to get, Knut? And do you think when people say that Bitcoin is the peaceful revolution, do you think that's how it's going to play out?
Yeah, I view this slightly differently, because I think that regardless of Bitcoin, the existence of Bitcoin, the dollar will crash at some point. All fiat currencies die. They have to, because they're unsustainable by design. The fiat monetary system works like this. New money is created someone is granted a loan from a bank. That loan will have to be paid back with interest that does not exist in the system. So there's a constant need for more cash, newly printed money, and it's exponential. So it's more and more every year. And when you're the world's reserve currency, like the US dollar is, you can siphon some value from the other currencies all the time, but you see today national currencies dying all over the world, like Venezuela and Argentina and Lebanon and Zimbabwe and all of these places where their money has gone to shit, and it's happening everywhere. Just at different speeds. Everyone is living everyone's currency is hyperinflating, just at different speeds, but it's all the same process. So regardless of whether Bitcoin exists or not, we're going to have a rough time ahead. Our kids and grandkids have a really, really rough time ahead. What Bitcoin does is it provides people with an airbag when the crash eventually happens. So I view it as like it's not Bitcoin that is causing this. Bitcoin is the parachute. It's the survival, the tool we have for surviving whatever crash was inevitably coming anyway. And just because it's so awesome at removing the profitability from violence, making violence less profitable. That's why I believe that we can have a very easy transition in comparison to other civilizations breaking down. I mean, imagine an army in a trench and another army in another trench. Instead of killing the guys in the other trench, you know that some of them might have 24 words in their heads that might be much more valuable to you than staying in the war. You could just memorize a seed phrase and walk across the border and stop fighting each other. I mean, it totally takes away violence from the equation. The more you think about it, the more you see this. So I believe Bitcoin is the thing that will save humanity in the end, and like we will just look back on these nation states with embarrassment in the future. I mean, there are examples of peaceful revolutions. When Norway broke free from Sweden, for instance, Swedes basically just gave Norway away. Like 200 years ago, and like here you go, okay, you can be an own nation, and no violence, no blood, nothing. Same, the fall of the Soviet Union could have been a lot worse than it was.
I mean, look at Tiananmen Square, which was, it was atrocious. The Chinese did. I mean, the Chinese communists, to be specific. But so Knut.
The fall of the Soviet Union, I'm old enough to remember that. And I remember Chernobyl happened like 3 years earlier. And then there was the fall of the Berlin Wall, and then it all crumbled. And one day it was just gone. And that was like when I grew up, we were taught in school about the two superpowers of the world, the Soviet Union and the US. And they were sort of equals, always, until they weren't. And one of them just poof and didn't exist anymore. And the people who survived this and lived through this, they said that, like, I went to bed a communist, I woke up, I wasn't one. It was just gone.
So Knut, the thing, I think, in Peter Thiel in The Sovereign Individual has an awesome foreword in the beginning of the book, and he talks about how the future is essentially going to be, and Naval actually has tweeted about this as well, is going to be, the way that I see it, right, is going to be Chinese central bank digital currencies with the potential of AI solving the distribution problem that happens in communist countries, right? And individualism, what you're going to see in the West, by Bitcoin. He puts crypto, but we all know that none of the cryptos are truly decentralized except for Bitcoin. What are your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts on, China and their central bank digital currency? We know that they banned that, which was a good thing. At the end, I think that the hash rate, or most of the hash rate, migrated away from there. But what are your thoughts on that? Are they doomed from the beginning? Because yeah.
I'm not scared about CBDCs or Chinese, AI algorithms quantifying their economy and thereby saving everyone. Because that's the problem with communism in the first place. It's not an incentive problem. It's a price signal problem mainly. The problem with communism and socialism is that in societies like that, you cannot ever get accurate pricing signals. So you don't know what people want. a price is information about people's wants and needs, and the wants and needs of the markets. A market is just its participants and their wants and needs. And for that signal to be true, and it needs to be as people need to stay out of it, basically. Otherwise, fewer people will get what they want. And communism can never accomplish anything good for its citizens. It might be able to control them for a while, but totalitarian states are not sustainable. They end in revolutions, and they end in starvation and civil wars. So I don't believe an AI will be able to calculate anything about human wants and needs. It's just not possible. It's not a calculation problem. It's a problem of calculation not being applicable to true economics, to Austrian economics. There's no such thing as quantifiable economic calculations. It's all about individual value hierarchies, and we all have different wants and needs, and we all have different wants and needs each day. So you can't really do that. And
what's crazy about Bitcoin, to add to your point, Knut, is that even in the U.S., that we feel we live in a truly free market society, we absolutely do not, right?
No, you're communists. I'm sorry to tell you.
I've been, how long have I been saying that, Phil? How long have I been saying that, right? This is not This is not a free market economy.
The capitalist devil, Donald Trump, that everyone else in the world viewed as a capitalist devil and an outrageous figure. He gave out $1,000 to each American at some point during COVID, during 2020, right? Now, how could he do that? Well, he printed more money. What happens then? Well, the dollar loses its value. Well, not really. It's still the petrodollar. It's still the dominant currency of the world. So everyone else in the world paid for those $1,000 to every American. So he was pickpocketing the pockets of everyone else in the world in order to pay his own citizens, which makes him an imperialist communist, if there's such a thing. And it's all centrally planned, and it's all awful, and it's all theft, and it's all coercion. And I never agreed to pay $1,000 to each American. I thought it was stupid to have the lockdowns in the first place.
Well, so, I appreciate it, and I put that into Bitcoin. So thank you.
Yeah. I hope I didn't say anything that will take you that will censor you from YouTube.
No.
Otherwise, just cut it out.
No. We bought Bitcoin with it. We bought Bitcoin with it, so it's all good.
Yeah. No, but yeah, I agree. Look, I'm so happy that you said this, because I've been saying this like a madman. I'm like, the U.S. Yeah. I'm like, everyone wants to be like the youth because they're getting fucked. Excuse my language, by the money. And they're rightly so. They feel like they're being wrong. They feel like they have less economic opportunity than their parents. But I come from Venezuela. I come from Venezuela, so I know what happens to socialism, right? I know what happens. I know that experiment. Yeah. And you see the youth, and they're like, "Yeah, socialism. It's the economic system that's broken." But nobody is looking at the fact that the base layer of society, half of every transaction, is what's broken. And if you fix that, you fix, I would say, the majority of the issues that people have with their lives. If they want to be a carpenter and that's what makes them happy, think about it. What is their ways of storing wealth? In the house or in equities, right? Or things that you don't really own. Bitcoin is the only thing, right, that literally it's very hard to confiscate on a massive scale unless you start locking people in boxes and torturing them. But you can't do that on a massive scale, right? You're still going to have to be able to fund that. And it's just, it changes everything. It changes the power dynamics. Anyways, Phil, do you have one last question before we wrap up the news?
I was just gonna quickly ask Knut about if he could share any details about his new book. That's like that.
Yeah.
That's the yeah.
Yeah, thank you for that
I
question.
saw you shopping around some. I was looking through your Twitter, and I saw that you were shopping around. Possibly, I think it was covers or something like that. But I know that you're looking for something about ideas on it. So I'm already excited.
Yeah, the book is, of course, called Bitcoin: Everything Divided by 21 Million, and I've written about 100 pages, a little more, and I'm trying to write every day now and just put it into something. It's sort of materializing as I write it. I figured out what it's about, and I edit it over and over again, and I see what comes out the other end. And this article, a lot of it is in the book, and like similar ideas. I think I found a connection between time, information, and morality, and I'm trying to flesh that out in the book.
Oh, okay.
And I'm trying to also, redefine how we think about Bitcoin, and trying to introduce a couple of new ways of seeing this thing. And it's focusing on Bitcoin being an emergent phenomenon, and how Bitcoin the currency, Bitcoin the network, Bitcoin its users, Bitcoin the coffee mug, Bitcoin the t-shirt, Bitcoin this TV show, Bitcoin the meme, Bitcoin the whatever, are just aspects of the same phenomenon, and its success as one fuels its success as all the others.
Ooh.
So it's
mind blown right now. Oh my god. Yeah, no, I see it now. Now that you pointed it out, now I can't unsee it. Wow. Okay.
We're excited.
That's one of the truth bombs in the book. Hopefully, it will catch on.
We definitely want to have you back on the show when the book releases to promote it.
Yeah, some more stuff about the book. I'm trying to get it done by Bitcoin Miami. So the plan is to go there. I'm in talks about speaking there. I don't know yet what will happen with that, but I will try to have the book done by then, and hopefully sit there by a stupid table and sign some stupid books, and talk to everyone, meet everyone, and have a great time. I'm really looking forward to that.
If you're going to be there, I'm definitely getting a book, and I want it signed.
You hear that, guys? Take advantage of the link down below for 10% off your tickets to Bitcoin 2022. You're going to see Phil and I talk, and Knut's going to talk. You get a signed copy of his book, and Deadmau5 plays on the last day of the conference. Absolutely crazy. You definitely don't want to miss it in Miami. But anyways, Phil, there was an open source software release today. Why don't you tell everybody about it?
Software releases. The software releases are brought to you by CipherSafe. Check them out, cyphersafe.io. Store your seed in the very secure Cypher Wheel or the all-new Cypher Grid. Also comes with the punch tool and the tamper-resistant wire. The link is down below. We've got Foundation Passport version 1.0.8 that was released. That is a hardware wallet, by the way, and that is the firmware for it. But anyways, rain or shine, we post on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, and on Anchor. It is audio only, Monday through Saturday. Check it out.
Awesome. Thank you, Phil. All right, guys, that was the show. Before we go, I want to give a very special shout out to our awesome guest. His name is Knut. Sorry, guys, I'm Hispanic, so I'm going to butcher the last name. Svanholm. So I apologize. Anyways, so definitely go give him a follow on Twitter. And of course, definitely go check out his awesome books. Pick this man's brain. It's a rabbit hole within a rabbit hole. It's a rabbit hole in a rabbit hole of a Bitcoin rabbit hole. First one's called Bitcoin Sovereignty Through Mathematics. Second one's called Bitcoin Independence Reimagined. And keep an eye for his new book that might drop before Bitcoin 2022. Anyways, guys, that was the show. If you enjoyed the show, you know what to do. Smash that like button. And of course, if you want to continue hearing the catastrophic fails from the transhuman coin shitcoiners and the Bitcoin news from the plebe pleb perspective, definitely consider subscribing to Simply Bitcoin, and we'll see you tomorrow, guys, for a brand new episode.
Bitcoin changes us. We don't change Bitcoin.